Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive with us.
It's good to be here.
Today we're looking into the life of Kevin Harris,
Oh, yeah, Kevin Harris.
a rising music artist
Right?
whose life was cut short way too soon.
Yeah.
And we're using an article from Investor called
Okay.
Remembering Kevin Harris, A Promising Life Cut Short.
Mm. Interesting.
And, we're not just trying to summarize this article.
Right.
We really want to understand the impact of a life like Kevin's,
For sure.
especially when it ends in such a tragic way.
Yeah. You know what really strikes me is it's not just about the music he made, it's about the people he was connected to, you know?
Yeah.
And then the mystery behind it all.
Absolutely. So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
The article talks about his early life in Inglewood, California.
Yeah.
Close family, strong faith.
Sounds like a good foundation.
It really does. He was devoted to his parents,
Mm-hmm.
close with his childhood friends.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like they really had a solid upbringing.
It does seem like that had a big impact on who he became.
Yeah, and even though his parents encouraged him in sports,
Okay.
his real passion was always music.
Interesting.
And get this, he was mostly self-taught.
Wow.
Like he mastered all these different genres, R&B,
Okay.
hip-hop,
Right.
pop, even gospel.
That's incredible.
That's not something you see every day,
No, you don't.
especially in someone so young.
What I find really fascinating is
Yeah.
how his music kind of transcended all those genres. Like,
No.
was there something special about how he blended them?
It makes you wonder.
Because by the summer of 2009, even big names like Britney Spears and Rihanna were interested in his work.
No way.
Yeah, that's not just talent.
It's like he had this spark.
Totally, like he was on the verge of something big.
And it makes you think, what could he have achieved
Yeah.
if he had had more time?
Exactly. And that brings us to September 2009.
Okay.
Everything changed that night.
Yeah.
Kevin was shot.
Multiple times.
Yeah, while he was sitting in his car in Inglewood.
Oh, wow.
And the article says the people who did it used two different guns. So it wasn't random.
It seems pretty planned.
And his mother's quote in the article just hit me hard.
Oh, yeah.
She said, "He was murdered. Someone actually took the time to murder him."
I can't imagine what his family went through.
It's chilling to think about the intention behind it all.
It's like a whole other level of tragedy.
And the fact that it's still a mystery
Yeah.
after all this time.
It adds to the heartbreak for sure.
Definitely. But amidst all the tragedy,
Yeah.
we should remember how he lived,
Absolutely.
not just how he died.
The article talks about his personality.
Right.
Generous, kind-hearted,
Always with a smile.
always smiling. And there's this one detail that stuck with me.
With that.
His high school sweetheart, Jasmine Tanner,
Uh,
she remembers his two-step dance move.
that's sweet.
It really brings him to life.
Yeah.
Yeah. It shows his personality beyond the music. It's a good reminder that we're talking about a real person here.
Yeah.
Someone who brought joy to everyone around him.
And even though he's gone, his music still lives on.
I think that's one of the beautiful things about art,
Mm-hmm.
how it transcends time and loss.
It speaks volumes about the impact he had.
And then there's the search for justice.
Right. It's still ongoing.
The article mentions his family and friends.
Yeah.
They believe there are clues out there.
After all this time, it's amazing they haven't given up hope.
Their belief is really something.
It makes you wonder what those clues might be.
And what's the missing piece to solve this puzzle?
That's a question that just hangs in the air.
So we've got Kevin's early life, his talent,
Right.
the tragic way he died, and this search for answers.
But there's so much more to uncover.
Right, like what are the details of the investigation?
Exactly.
And how does an unsolved case like this impact a whole community?
Those are the questions we're going to dive into next.
Stay with us, folks. This is where things get really interesting. It's been over 15 years since Kevin's death,
Yeah.
and I keep thinking about his family and friends.
Right.
The article doesn't really talk about the emotional toll
Yeah.
of living with this unsolved case.
It's got to be tough.
I bet it's more than just tough.
Oh, absolutely.
Imagine trying to grieve,
Yeah.
trying to move on with your life.
Right.
But you've got this huge question mark hanging over you.
It's like a wound that never heals.
Exactly. And the article mentions there have been leads, witnesses, even whispers about a motive.
Okay.
And no specifics.
What do you think that means?
I'm guessing the investigators are being careful.
Yeah.
They probably don't want to jeopardize the case.
Makes sense.
But for Kevin's loved ones,
Yeah.
that lack of information must be agonizing.
Oh, definitely.
It's a tough situation.
Mm-hmm.
Wanting answers, but also understanding the need for secrecy.
Right.
makes you wonder what else is out there.
Like, what are the investigators holding back?
Exactly. Like, what do they know that we don't?
There could be evidence, witness statements.
Things that could help explain what happened.
But releasing that info too soon?
Yeah.
Could ruin the whole case.
Imagine if it tipped off the people responsible.
Or messed up a potential jury.
So it's this balancing act.
Yeah.
Keeping things confidential.
But also keeping the memory alive.
So the fight for justice doesn't fade away.
And that's where the community comes in.
And the media too, right?
For sure, keeping Kevin's story in the public eye.
Even without all the answers.
Sometimes that can lead to a break in the case.
It's like someone out there
Mm-hmm.
might have a piece of the puzzle.
And they might not even realize it's important.
Exactly. And even if a new lead doesn't lead to an arrest,
Yeah.
it could at least bring some closure to Kevin's family.
It could show them they're not alone.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the unanswered questions,
Right.
but shifting gears a bit.
Oh, right.
What can we actually learn from Kevin's life, from his music?
Well, for me, Kevin's story shows us that talent
Uh-huh.
and potential can come from anywhere.
He was self-taught, right?
Totally driven by his passion.
He didn't need a fancy studio or connections.
Yep. He just created.
And the fact that big artists were starting to notice him,
Mm-hmm.
that says a lot about his artistry.
It really does.
He could blend genres, create something new.
That's such a loss for the music world.
But his story also highlights the power of community.
How even with tragedy, love and memory can live on.
It's like his music itself is a form of remembrance.
Right. You connect with him through his art.
And while the mystery of his death remains unsolved,
Yeah.
the impact of his life,
Mm-hmm.
his music,
Mm-hmm.
it's still felt today.
It reminds us to cherish those around us.
To support creative people.
Because you never know what they might achieve.
It's about finding hope even in the face of tragedy.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
what can our listeners do
Yeah.
if they want to learn more about Kevin's story, or maybe even contribute to the search for answers?
Well, we can't give out specific details about the investigation,
Right.
but we can encourage everyone to listen to his music.
Share his story.
Yeah, keep his memory alive.
And, beyond that,
Mm-hmm.
supporting local artists,
Yeah,
fostering that sense of community,
right.
speaking out against injustice.
All those things honor Kevin's legacy.
Because who knows, maybe by keeping the conversation going,
Uh-huh.
someone with a crucial piece of info will come forward,
There's power in collective action.
even when things seem impossible.
Definitely. And
Yeah.
sometimes all it takes is one voice.
One piece of information to make all the difference.
You got it.
That's a powerful message to carry with us.
For sure.
So we've explored Kevin's life,
Mm-hmm.
his passion for music,
Right.
the mystery of his death.
The quest for justice.
But our deep dive isn't over yet.
Oh, there's more.
In our final part,
Okay.
we're going to step back and look at the bigger picture.
Sounds good.
What happens when a talent like Kevin's is silenced?
Yeah.
What are the consequences of unsolved cases?
Right.
Not just for loved ones,
Mm.
but for a whole community.
That's what we'll be talking about.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back to explore these deeper layers of Kevin's story. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Kevin Harris's life and legacy.
It's been quite a journey.
We've talked about his upbringing, his amazing musical talent,
That night in September,
and the search for answers that continues to this day.
now we're going to step back a bit.
Yeah, look at the bigger picture.
What happens when a talent like Kevin's is taken from us so soon?
And how do unsolved cases like this impact an entire community?
Those are some really tough questions.
They are, and I don't think they're easy answers.
No, but by talking about them, by digging into this case,
Maybe we can understand the impact of violence a little better,
and the importance of fighting for justice.
even when it feels impossible.
So we've talked about Kevin's musical talent.
Right, how he was about to break through.
What was it about his music that resonated with people?
The article said he was a master at blending genres.
Really?
R&B, hip-hop, pop, even gospel.
Wow.
They called him a musical chameleon.
Because he could move between styles so easily.
Exactly. And for someone who was self-taught,
It's pretty remarkable.
it is, imagine a musical tapestry
Okay.
with threads from all these different genres.
I like that.
Kevin could weave those threads together,
Yeah.
create something fresh, something that resonated with everyone.
And don't forget, major artists were starting to pay attention.
It makes you think what could have been.
It really does.
So what happens to the music scene when a talent like that is lost?
That's a good question.
Does it create a void? Does it inspire others to step up?
I think there's definitely a sense of loss.
Yeah.
A sense of what could have been.
Absolutely.
But I also think there's potential for inspiration.
as some.
Kevin's story reminds us that talent can come from anywhere.
That passion and dedication can lead to amazing things.
His legacy might inspire others to pursue their own dreams.
To push boundaries, to honor his memory through their art.
Exactly.
And beyond the music, there's the impact on the community.
Right. The article talks about the search for justice.
But it doesn't really go into how an unsolved case affects a neighborhood.
It's like a wound that never fully heals.
Yeah, it casts a long shadow.
It creates fear, mistrust, even vulnerability.
You can really damage that sense of community.
That makes a neighborhood feel like home.
You're right, it's like a ripple effect.
That goes way beyond the people directly involved.
So how do you address that?
How do you help a community heal when there are no answers?
It's a long and difficult process.
It starts with acknowledging the pain, the loss, the fear.
And having open conversations.
Creating safe spaces for people to share their feelings.
Supporting the families of victims.
Letting them know they're not alone.
It sounds like it takes a lot of effort on multiple levels.
It does.
So what can individuals do to be a part of that process?
We need to be aware.
Okay.
Educate ourselves about unsolved cases.
Learn about the impact they have.
And how we can support victims and their families.
It's about taking responsibility.
Recognizing that we all have a role to play.
In creating a safer and more just world.
Even small acts of kindness can make a difference.
Showing compassion and empathy.
It all adds up.
And remembering that even without a clear resolution,
There's power in community.
supporting each other.
Keeping in the memory of those lost alive.
That's where resilience comes in.
Acknowledging the pain, but finding ways to move forward.
We've explored a lot in this deep dive.
We have.
And Kevin Harris's story is about so much more than just tragedy.
It's about talent, about loss.
About community and the pursuit of justice.
It's a story that makes you feel so many things.
Sadness, for sure.
Frustration, too.
But also admiration for his loved ones.
And hope that justice will prevail.
I think it's important to remember
Yeah.
that Kevin's story reflects a larger issue,
Unsolved cases happen all the time.
leaving families and communities with so much pain.
And while we can't bring back those we've lost,
We can honor their memory
by supporting efforts to solve these cases,
by advocating for policies that prevent violence.
and by fostering a culture of empathy.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a privilege to explore this with you,
We hope Kevin's story has touched you,
as much as it has touched us.
and we encourage you to learn more
Get involved.
and never stop believing in hope.
And the pursuit of truth.
Even in the face of darkness, there's always light to be found.